This is going to be a really hard topic to cover here because there's just too many opinions going around. And if you say the wrongly, a terrible tragedy, no matter what he did before he got caught, the way he died is just not right. It just felt wrong, especially as you watch the video. I just feel like if the guy's already under control, he has handcuffs on. There's like 3 or 4 police officers surrounding him, like, just get off of him, you know? Again, no matter what the person did. So if you have him under custody, then that's it. Get off the guy's neck. Why are you kneeling on his neck? Now, talking about his death is the easy part. And I say easy part because it was clear cut. All right? There are multiple videos of the incident, and everybody can see and understand that he was under custody and that there were multiple cops and that he wasn't going to go anywhere, and that Chauvin guy, whatever the name of the officer is, he didn't get up his neck even after he was like passed out on the floor. So everybody kind of like understands that was like fucked up. So that you cannot really argue with that, especially after seeing the footage. Now, the heated debate comes after. I am a person of color, so I will always be on the side of equality for everybody, because that kind of stuff may affect me in the future. Thank God it hasn't affected me yet. I usually try to fly under the radar, but who knows? You never know when you're gonna get stopped and you're gonna get an asshole. And I say when you're gonna get an asshole because not every cop is a bad cop. I actually have a couple of friends that are officers, and so I know them personally. I know that they wouldn't do something like that. But you might find an asshole one day, so I will always be in the side of equality because I might be at the other end of that situation one day. So that's my position on the matter. But having said that, I do not agree with vandalism, with burning down and damaging private property. That's the only thing that I disagree on. And I want people's voice to be heard just in a peaceful way. That's all. And I know people are angry because back when Colin Kaepernick was kneeling, they considered that to be peaceful. And now they feel like the time for peaceful protest is over, and that they feel like they need to go and do these kinds of things like vandalizing buildings and burning things down and looting and all that stuff. And yes, I have seen the Trevor Noah video that's going around on YouTube and other videos of people echoing his message. And on the video, he talks about a moral contract that specifies that whenever there's a problem between citizens, there should be an entity that comes in and help fix the problem. But what's happening is that the entity that is supposed to come in and help fix the problem is killing black people disproportionately. And therefore, people of color in general feel like they shouldn't hold their end of the bargain and pretend like there is law and order when there clearly isn't, and they are being targeted. I understand their point of view. I'm not so worried about Apple and Gucci and all these other stores that have millions of dollars. I'm worried about the small guy, the guy in the Bronx who had a deli, a bodega, whatever, who got broken into. Another lady who had a Mexican food restaurant that also got vandalized. I'm talking about people like that, like small-time people. That's what I'm talking about. But let's say that only big companies get targeted. Even then it looks bad, because that's what people who are against the movement wants us to do. They want people of color to behave like uneducated, wild savages. And we are not that. We are smart people. We just haven't been given the opportunity to prove ourselves. Yes, they broke the contract, but I don't think the answer to a broken contract is no contract. I think we should come up with a new contract if we feel like that old contract was not working right. Let's make a new contract with the right wording, with the right clauses that will give us an equal footing on the table. Let's not resort to vandalism, even if you feel like that's the right thing to do. Let's not go there because it's just not gonna help. And I understand where they're coming from, but I cannot get behind that. The thing is that the people who hate you, racist people, are not gonna have a change of heart just because you burn something down. And I don't want to generalize. I know that not everybody out there is vandalizing private property. There's just like a handful of people doing it. Just so that people don't get angry at me, I know that not everybody's doing that. For the sake of the betterment of society, I think we need to make it so that good cops call out bad cops. And this topic is so extensive that we could be here talking about it all day and we wouldn't get anywhere because everybody has an idea of how to fix the problem. I, for one, think that we should get people in power that can make change happen from within. You get involved in politics, you read on what's happening in your community, get involved, go out there and vote. And it's not gonna be easy. Change is not gonna happen overnight. Only hard work and time can fix this. Let's just keep working at getting people of color in a position where they can succeed. And by them succeeding, we will also rise up with them. But only time can make this happen. Even if you do everything right, it's not like these people are gonna go away. In life, some people are just not gonna like you. And you won't like some people. That's how it is. It's a human condition. There's just too many characters out there. There's just too many wackos. There's too many crazy people outside. And they come from everywhere. People are all the same. They're good people here, good people there, bad people here, bad people there. I don't think we can change that. That's just how we humans are wired to behave. What we can definitely change right now is stopping senseless killing of people. Because racism is going to take a long time to leave. There's just too many old people in power. And if the young people don't go out and vote, then those old people and their old ideas are going to stay in power. What we need to do is inject some new blood into the system and get things moving. But again, that's gonna take some time for you to start seeing the results. Having said that, we cannot get into a situation where you have a person handcuffed under custody and you end up killing that person. Alright, that's just unacceptable. That's it. I think we can fix that. I know they do have a psychological test that they do before you become a police officer, and I don't know how extensive that is because I never done it, but they need to dig deeper and find out if you have any sort of disposition to being unfair or unbalanced toward a group of people, or maybe you have some sort of issues that you haven't worked out. They need to find that out before they let you on the streets to do any sort of policing. Because if you just go out there and, you start having some sort of like sentiment against a particular group of people, then that's not what we want. So let's just work on it, all right? And figure out where we go from here. And I think that's just the gist of it. And just saying, let's get the old people out. Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell, they've been in power for decades. They seen presidents come and go, and they still there, running their mouth and enacting their dumb old policies. We need some young people to go in there and start changing things. If you take into account where we were a few decades ago and where we are now, I think we are improving. It's just not fast enough. But unfortunately, there is no other way to make it go faster. Or at least not that I know. Again, I'm just an idiot talking here by myself. We got to chip away at it. Get into politics, start voting locally, not just for president elections. You got to elect judges, you got to elect other officials that can transform your community. And once you start doing that, little by little, you're going to start seeing changes. But it's not going to happen overnight. And I think that kind of wraps it up in a nice package. I think I touch upon a little bit of everything. But if I miss something, just forgive me. I'm just trying to do my best. Like I said, I'm not the most knowledgeable person here. I'm just thinking out loud. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say on that. And I just want to add to this podcast a few words from Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's an astrophysicist and he's super cool. And he has this great message that I just want to add it on to this podcast so that we could leave on a good note. So listen to this and I'll see you on the next one.
What was it about your dad that impacted you so much that you still carry today?
For me, at least, was what level of wisdom did he glean in his life and then successfully communicate to me, either by example or by just explicit statement. For example, in high school, he was in gym class and they were lining up and they were about to enter the next athletic unit, and it was track and field. And the gym instructor pointed to my father online and said, "Cyril Tyson, everyone look at him. He does not have the body type that would excel in track." And they used him as an example. And he says, "What? No one is going to tell me what I can't do in my life." And he used that as a reason to start running. And he started track in that moment. He decided that one of his next tasks in life would be to take up running and excel at it. Within a few years of that, he became world class. At one time, had the 5th fastest time in the world. In the middle distance, they don't run this anymore, 600-yard run. In 1948, the Olympics was not yet ready to come back to us because we're still roiling from the Second World War. Instead, there was still an Olympics. It was called the GI Olympics, and it was held in Hitler's Stadium. So he competed in Hitler's Stadium in the late 1940s. It's just one of the great memories of his life. But the reason I'm saying all of that is they were competing against the New York Athletic Club. In the day, once you graduated college, you needed some sanctioning body to compete with. So there were athletic clubs. The New York Athletic Club at the time accepted only white Protestants. So there was another club called the Pioneer Club, which took everybody who was not accepted to the New York Athletic Club, which was basically blacks and Jews, is really what that came down to. And his best friend, Johnny Johnson, was coming around the back stretch, might have been the quarter mile, coming on the final straightaway. And a runner from the New York Athletic Club is a few paces behind him. And Johnny Johnson overhears that runner's coach say, "Catch that!" And he overheard this. And so what did he say to himself? He said, "This is one he ain't gonna catch." And that extended his lead to the finish line. And he tells this story not with any bitter tone. So he never had that kind of tone when he shared those stories with us. It was, here's an occasion to parlay what today might be called a microaggression into a reason to excel even more than you had expected of your own abilities and talents. And so I have taken that lesson with me. We live in a very fractured world today, but what is clear is that the internet has enabled, and social media have enabled people to tribalize. You might go your whole life without ever finding another person who thinks the earth is flat. You go online and you see them all, and they have conventions, and they meet here, even if it's only virtual. So you have ways to say why you are different from other people. And I don't know that that's always a healthy place to be. in a pluralistic land. You want to celebrate differences rather than go out of your way to establish differences and then claim one group is better than another. You can draw a line in the sand between people who transgress but do not hold power over you from those who transgress and do. So the coach who said catch that, he doesn't have power over Johnny Johnson unless you allow him to. This is a famous quote from Martin Luther King. You can only be ridden if your back is bent. When I grew up, it was very common to hear the phrase, "Sticks and stones can break my bones, but words will never hurt me." You recited this. This is what you were told when you came home, when you said, oh, you know, this bully called me a name, or "Sticks and stones can break my bone, but words will never hurt me." And so this was an inoculation against hate speech, really, against just evil people, just nasty people. You were able to develop a system of defenses against unpleasant people out there. And I haven't heard that phrase in a long time. What I think has happened over the years is we came to learn as a civilization that words can be hurtful. I don't have a problem with that. This is an enlightened new place to understand the role of our emotional state and how it interacts with our world around us. That's an advance in mental health. What I see on the flip side of that coin, however, is people are less able to deal with the very same people who are around today who were around back then, who are calling you names, the people who might be bullying you on the internet by saying things about you. I don't know that we have how to defend against that now other than seeing a counselor for your emotional state. I can say from the era in which I grew up, I don't give a rat's ass what you say to me, okay? Unless you are between me and some goal, then I'll have to navigate that some way. If there's a racist person or sexist person or a person with some kind of cultural bias, I want to know that, actually. I don't want them to hide that. I want you to say everything you want to say. Then I'll say, okay, that's who you are, that's how you're thinking. So now what do I need to do because you're in my way? Do I dig under you, go around you, leap over you? Or do I go this way and then come out the other side? Yeah, it's longer, it's more effort, it's more energy, but on some level it's sort of same shit, different day. My impact would be people learn from me in a way that they are empowered by what I taught them. So that when they think of what they learned from me, they no longer think of me. They think of their own base of understanding of how this world works. And so that I become irrelevant. Because if people say, this is true because Tyson said so, then I failed. That's not how you teach someone. That's teaching them by authority. I want to teach you how to think about the world, and then you say, I have a new way to understand the world, and you just run off. You don't even look back, because a new level of hunger has descended upon you, and methods and tools to feed that hunger are now accessible to you. So my impact would be that others are impacted and they don't even remember that I had something to do with it. On my tombstone, I want the epitaph, be ashamed to die until you have scored some victory for humanity. And a victory for humanity is not a victory for yourself. It's not statues, it's not your name, it's just humanity's better off. Any of us, I think, should want the world to be a little better off for you having lived in it. That doesn't mean people praising you, not even about that. So what do you have to give with no expectation of return? No one ever told me that I had to search for meaning in life. Many people look for meaning in life as though it's going to be under a rock or behind a tree. And I'm thinking to myself, you have more power than that. You have the power to create meaning in your life rather than passively look for it. So for me, I create the meaning. And meaning to me is, do I know more about the world today than I did yesterday? That enhances meaning for me. By whatever powers I have available to me, have I lessened the suffering of others? Or the corollary to that would be, have I enhanced the life of others? And I don't mean, have I devoted the whole day to doing that? Then I would be ignoring myself. But if there's some small gesture that I can do that can completely add value to someone's life, I'm gonna do it. Because the leveraging of 10 minutes of my life into the happiness or enlightenment or the reduced suffering of someone else, I'd be irresponsible if I did not.